concerning most is the issue of the pedestrian, Julius. If we want to go to pedestrian farms, Joes will have crosswalk almost just everywhere possible. I live between the ELB hospital and the rehab junction, right? That's where I live. And if you check from what I'm talking about, ELB hospital has a crosswalk. You now see any on the rehab junction. There's another crosswalk.
Yeah, so maybe the one for people to walk to. Oh, you're jealous, you're short, you don't want to walk. It can help your exercise. Just go to the crosswalk and cross there.
It's not a matter of exercising. It's not a matter of exercising. Judah, I exercise more than you can do. Trust me.
No, you can exercise more than me now, aren't you?
Judah, don't put that in your bed. Don't put that in your bed. I exercise more than you do. Not because my own. I put on the camera like you can do your own. Anyway, you can go do the corner. You small camera. You put it on because you know. Small internet in there, not putting it together. Put it together. Show it.
Can you jog 5 kilometers?
She does. Come here away campus on Saturday. Let's do something.
Okay. No worries.
Come here away campus Saturday. Let's plan something.
Okay. Lorenzo, thanks so kindly. We'll hold it right there. We know you have a whole lot to say, but we have our guest here. We'll not keep him waiting forever. Let's hold on there with the calls. Tomorrow will be another day. We will continue. We have with us the Public Works Minister, Roland Lifford Giddings. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Giddings. Thank you for having me. Good to be here today.
How is life going?
Life is okay. Let me say life is okay. We're doing what we have to do, and thank God for life. Every day we have life. Thank God.
What is the bill of health of the Ministry of Public Works?
Well, I think the Ministry of Public Works is excellently well. Let me say it that way. I think we are getting done what the President wants. What our strategic plan has laid out for the next 5 years. We are executing that. And I think we are living up to the expectation required. I know there's still more to be done. I know the citizens look for more. We need to do more. I would say that we have lacking behind as a country for many things in terms of rural development. So we're trying to be urgent in what we do.
Let's start. We want to try to cover everything as much as possible in these 2 hours. The Monrovia and Painesville City Streets repairs. Let us start from that. When you say street repairs, what is happening? What are you doing?
So we'd like to speak about that because, Monrovia overall and Painesville, especially Painesville is the biggest city, I would say, within the Monrovia limits, and Monrovia is the capital. So we believe we have to do a lot in terms of some of the work. There have been a lot of repairs required in terms of potholes across the different cities, and so we initiated a project that will look at dealing with all of the potholes.
Yeah, please speak a little louder.
Dealing with all of the potholes across the 2 cities. And that's what's happening. So if you go around now, central Monrovia and its environment, and also the Painesville, you will see there are a lot of works taking place right now to deal with all of the potholes and to deal with some of the, drainage situation. And
that is
some of the sidewalks.
That is the roads that were already paved.
Yes. So we just do it maintenance. That is taking care of the potholes. Let me say it that way. And now potholes, some of them are even ditches that we are taking care of. Like if you went to the...
I know one way around our intersection here at Lynch and Benson Street intersection.
We're taking care of that. So if you go to Nizo, just before you turn from the Japan Freeway to start to go to Nizo Parker Payne, you used to see what was there. It was like a ditch.
Yeah.
Okay, it was not even a road anymore, I would say, just of asphalt. We've taken care of that. So we're trying to restore all of the corridors that were not restored for many years. Let me say it that way. We inherited most of the places like that. Even now, you see what's happening between, Freeport and St. Paul Bridge. It's unprecedented. People will come in ditches with resolving that. So we're beginning to do that. We think we want to restore the 2 cities, because those are the 2 big cities here in Monrovia, and that's where the population is. Monrovia has a population of over 1.5 million people. So we think we need to make accessibility okay, and that's what we're doing. So if you go to all of the community, Duporo, if you go to Nizo, Paco Payne, the entire central Monrovia, SKD Boulevard, SD Cooper Road, Zubatown, parts of GSA. Of course, you went to Matali, you saw what's happening in Matali, even in the Lakpasi, we're doing the new road towards the zoo. So there are many interventions, even on the Oro. We'll be transitioning to the Oro Gate and some of the other corridors that are also there with purpose. So we are dealing with all of the purpose, let me say that.
It's a public work itself, your engineers or contractor companies?
Well, of course, Public Works will do the entire assessment on these corridors and develop the scope of work and the bill of quantity, and then we go ahead and contract company with the capacity to do so. Because we do not have asphalt plans set up to be able to do it as Public Works. So we use the private sector to be able to execute, which in my mind make it much more efficient. And that's why we are getting the results we are getting.
Are you sure you're going to deal with all of the potholes on the paved roads in these two cities before the next rainy season?
I'm very sure, except that there will be something developing now, but even at that, we're trying to address that. But we are dealing with all the potholes. So after work is done, look around. If you see another pothole, let me know. But as far as I know, we are dealing with all of the potholes almost everywhere. That's what we are doing. And you can see us working everywhere.
Now, since we are on Monrovia and Painesville, let's also look at the interconnectivity, whether it is new bridges and new roads that you're building between both places, either to ease traffic congestions or to give people other means of travel.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do, as much as we are, repairing and rehabilitating the current roads that were built many years ago, we're also trying to open up new roads. And I'm sure you are aware of the bypass we are creating as a result of the construction of the overpass bridges to be able to ease traffic. Of course, we're going to continue doing that up to next year, the overpass. By August next year, September, we could be completed with the two bridges. But between now and then, what do we do to deal with the traffic? Of course, the police have been very helpful in trying to ease the traffic, and the traffic's not that heavy, but we have to create bypasses. So where we're creating the bypass form is to be able to connect the SKD Boulevard. The SKD Boulevard, to connect the SKD Boulevard to Paco Island. That is currently happening.
That everybody wash their cars?
Yes, somewhere there. Okay. But we're trying to find another location somewhere between that and the Calando gas station somewhere there. So we want to connect SKD Boulevard to Paco Island. We've already connected Paco Island to Peace Island. We are not building the bus covers. It's not like a bridge where it could be a double or triple cell bus coverage in the two locations. We also should do the same between Paco Island and SKD Boulevard. So once we do that, we've connected Paco Island, SKD to Paco Island to Peace Island. Peace Island, of course, now will be already connected to what you call the Allison Street. When you leave Peace Island, right by the Ministerial Complex, there's a street called the Allison Street that connects to Oro.
Okay.
We're going to pave that street with chip seal for now. We got a contractor who will start paving that road. Hopefully we can pave that before the rains come. I'm hopeful we can do so. Then we're going to go through the Oro, not the main Oro, but straight through the Oro around the Crest the King when you cross the road. Mm-hmm. We want to shoot that down straight to the car wash. There are some private property within the certain section of the road. We intended to be, because if the private property, we have to pay for that. And it's not on the alley, so we have to pay for that. So we're doing our assessment. So it takes us to the car wash, and then we branch off to Calando, go backwards to Oro, turn back Calando. And you saw we did this completely demolition within the Rototown around the airfield area. Mm-hmm. So we're going to pass that road into by the airfield, around the airstrip, between the airstrip and the Invincible Park. There will be a road that turns into Rototown, and then you can go up to Fiaman, to Jalata, to Central Monrovia. So the intent is to bypass the Tottenham Boulevard. So that means you can come from Painesville without getting on the Tottenham Boulevard to go to Monrovia. That's what we're trying to create. And in my mind, It's going to relieve the traffic. It's going to create
Let-
another
let-
access to town
let me
without
take-
getting
yeah.
on the Tottenham Boulevard.
Let me take you back to the Allison Street. It was the only one that you talked about paving with a chip
One
seal.
one layer of asphalt.
Yeah. So what about the rest of the road? Will it be?
Okay, so that was already in the works for us to have done this budget year. The rest of the road, we're just going to put in the covers, whether the bus or circular covers, make it pliable, and then we'll look to doing something next budget year in terms of paving section of
that means it will be laterite.
It will be lateral for now, but it will be a road that we can use to come up to town. And the intent is to pave it, because of course it has to be paved. And once you do that, we have another alternative to town from Garnersville. We are getting on Tottenham Boulevard, especially if we want to use this side of the town to come to Monrovia, which would be okay, because the Tottenham Boulevard is the only route to Monrovia from the Pinsville side coming to town. We want to create another means to come to town that you don't have to. So all the vehicles that come from SKD Boulevard, Police Academy, all that, they don't have to come to the boulevard, the Tottenham Boulevard. Stay on the SKD Boulevard, enter into Paco Island, Peace Island, Allison Street, shoot down the Oro, Rototown, Fiamma, Charlatan, Monrovia. And I think it's going to make some sense in terms of relieving the traffic. We're definitely doing that now. We've done the clearance. In fact, this week by Thursday, I'll be going to the site to see the clearance. We're going to start doing manual clearance and make it pliable. Places where we don't need to do any kind of installation in terms of structure, we go ahead and open it up for people to start to use. That's one. The next thing we're trying to do is identify several places that we can connect that can make it easy.
Okay.
I was in New Jersey the other day, and we've seen that we can connect Corway to New Jersey by just a bridge.
Yeah.
So my engineers at the ministry, the chief engineers, will lead a team of engineers, bridge engineers, structural engineers around to be able to do the assessment. That would be done. So we're intending to connect New Jersey to Corway. So if you're coming from Corway, you're coming to Garnersville, you don't have to go all the way to Freeport. You just come.
Or you go all the way through Disville,
all
Bannersville.
there, come. You don't need to do that. Just cut from there, and you're in New Jersey, and you're in Garnersville. We're going to connect that. Our bridge engineers will be doing the assessment very soon. There's another place from Island Clinic. Like, we're already connecting Nukutan to Island Clinic. We're building a bridge now to do that.
Ah, okay.
It's a project.
I was there the other day. I don't know whether it was your team that did some grading of the road.
Yeah. It's the contractor we hired to do the work. So we're gonna connect Nukutan to Island Clinic, which is already happening. From Island Clinic Junction, there's a way you can connect. There's a connection from Island Clinic to Corway, which we'll be doing, and that is. There's a Chechipo road somewhere there, so we can connect that to Corway. The bridge engineers will also be doing that assessment. And the other one that we feel is very important to do is there's the road you call Rock Crutcher. Okay.
Where?
It's somewhere in Doazo, where what's his name? McIntosh. There's McIntosh that had this ADI.
Oh, yeah.
The project Live. He's the most popular person in that community. If you go to the water, we want to be able to build a bridge to connect to. That bridge connects to Mount Barclay.
Oh.
So when you come from Calcutta and you get to what they call, I don't like to call the name of this road that goes into, people call it Butt Naked Road again. But there's a need, it's a Goshen community, I think it's called that. So you turn into that road, and that road takes you straight to the water. And once you cross that bridge, you're in Doazon.
Ah.
So if you're coming from Calcutta, you don't need to get to real life with all the hustle and tussle trying to use the bypass to Pakoping or use the bypass to Nizu road. You just cut into that community and you're in, especially if you're living on the other side, on the RIA side, and then you're in Dwaza, you're there, or you come down to Tingo Village. So our thing is to interconnect Monrovia. That is what we're trying to do. And our team is supposed to go out there to do the assessment. Our bridge unit, the structural engineers will be doing the full assessment to interconnect Monrovia. And that's why when I say interconnect Monrovia, that's what we're trying to do. So that we can create this kind of accessibility that makes it just easy for you to move around Monrovia. And don't be locked up in the ring. And when I say the ring is from Freeport to Rail Light, from Rail Light to Monrovia, from Central Monrovia to Freeport again, or to Brewerville, just in that ring. No, there should be some connectivity between those rings, and that's what we're trying to do. And the big thing is also, we have a company that have done the studies, and we should be reviewing that studies to connect Kesselly Boulevard to 12th Street.
Because that is where I was going. Because I was just thinking, how are you talking about all these interconnectedness, and you've not mentioned 12th Street, Kesselly Boulevard?
That is the big one. We've already done the studies. In the next 2 weeks, they should
I
be
thought
presenting it to
I thought
us.
studies were done before.
The way it was a preliminary study. What has been done is the studies with a full design
Okay.
that we're going to review, make our comments. As the Ministry of Public Works, our design team is in place to do so, and they go back and improve on it. And we begin a process of proposal that could lead to a concession for building that road, because it's going to be built with toll on it. So if you want to drive on that bridge, you pay the toll. Of course, other roads will have toll, but that would make it easy for you to enter into Monrovia from Ghana's-View. With because not going to be the bridge and the road connected to the boulevard not going to be more than 16, 18 kilometers. So just about that. So in a short time, you're there. 10, 15 minutes, you should be in Ghana's-View. I mean, in a single from Ghana's-View side. Very short. So yes, this is the interconnectivity program I'm talking about that we're going to do. And we are very fixated about it. We are not going to back down on that. We're already beginning that with the one from Newtown to Island Clinic. So we're going to continue doing that. But that's going to come in the next year or so as we go along.
All of these things you are talking, people say it's easy to talk. I'm concerned about the financial resources, because there's a whole lot of money that will go into doing these things, because there are a whole lot of other things happening that we are also going to talk about. So financial resources.
Yeah, let me just say also, I think the government overall and the president and the Minister of Finance, is beginning to see that the binding constraint on our economy, like we all know, the investment in roads and energy. And I think for roads, there being some commitment towards that. Secondly, the road fund is the instrument that we use squarely for road. And I'm sure we're doing good. We're making sure the road fund become more vibrant and transparent in the way it's operated. There's some work being done. We already got a consultancy to do a toll policy. A toll policy could be done in the next 4 or 5 months, and you will see, hopefully by next year, 2028, we start to put toll on all the major corridors. Rail light to Ganta, we have toll on that corridor.
Others
on a corridor.
Others argue that tolls are placed on roads that have alternatives. For example, it is okay to put it on the 12th Street to Kesselly Boulevard if it is done because there are alternatives to come to town. But if you have just a single road going into Ganta and you put a toll on it, then you don't give people an option.
Yeah, the thing about it, because we are a country that does not have a lot in terms of the resources to do that, we can't wait to develop all the road full portal system. Otherwise, we would not do that. Have you gone to Freetown?
No,
have you driven
never.
to Freetown?
Never.
Okay, Freetown, they got 3 toll on the corridor, and they're raising a lot of money to build invest in other roads. So we built the major highways. We put the toll system that we've done. In fact, a lot of people have enjoyed the highways ever since. Buchanan Road been built for many years. People be going there free. So we install a toll now. You can pay to be able to build alternative, and there are alternative routes that we can build. But if we do not put toll on this corridor to enhance our domestic resource mobilization, it will be a problem. I believe we can raise a lot of money domestically to do our road, and this is how we are doing that. Even with our PPP engagement, the government passed on a PPP policy now, a public-private partnership for investment in our infrastructure. Whether a road, whether energy or so, that's what we are doing. We have to be able to raise money domestically. I believe we can raise a lot of money domestically to invest in our road. And even looking to partners. The road fund can do up to 70, 80 million every year. If we can do that, we can partner with other private financier to build our road. And that's why we're already initiating the PPP policy and implementing that now on some of the corridors, like the private 4D, which I'll talk about also. But that's what we're doing. So money is the problem, yes, but we are finding a way to address the money problem. Roads have become a key investment that we should make as a government, and we've agreed that we should invest in roads.
Let's leave Monrovia and Pittsburgh, go to other cities in the counties. What plan is there for them?
So one of the things that we're trying to do is to try to make sure we can get all the county capitals at least a facelift that looks like a capital. If you go to Kakata now, you see what we are doing in Kakata. We're doing pavement in Kakata, specifically rigid pavement, that is concrete pavement. which we believe is durable, can last. I grew up in Maryland. You grew up in Maryland. You know what Harper looks like after 60 years. Still look the same in terms of the work that was done on the road. You just go and do some minor repairs. So we believe rigid pavement is the best thing to do. We're going to initiate that. It's a policy now in the counties. So we're doing that in Kakata. We also want to do that in Bopolu. So Bopolu City, now if you go to Bopolu City, it's dirt. I know there was a contract I have sent to, they have not moved yet with the LACC that I met. Up to $1 million, almost $1 million was disbursed for paving the road in Bopolu City, and no work was done.
Was disbursed?
Yes, was disbursed.
Oh wow!
I sent that document to LACC to investigate the last government. There are people who should be culpable. I'm still waiting to hear what they said. They said if review it, and they will get to me. I think I've written them for update on where we were with that case. They have not come back yet. But there are people responsible for that. However, we're moving ahead.
What does the document say? I guess, or was it the former Port West minister, officials of the ministry who gave that out?
It came from the Peace be to her Arches, from Minister Nyepang.
Okay.
And then it went to Minister Coco Collins. Yes, they were involved in the disbursement. The records are there. It proves that.
To a private contractor?
Yeah, one YSM construction firm.
Is it still in business in Liberia?
I don't know, because it can't be in business at Public Works now. Let me say that. But I don't know where is it, and I felt the LCC should be able to investigate that. So
is there evidence that company did works before?
But I don't know about that. I don't know that company. Let me say it that way. I don't know how the company got
because usually before the contracts are awarded, they can have all those documents of what they did.
Yeah, I don't know what they did. Yeah, I don't know how they did it. What I would do is we make sure you have had the records of doing such work before you can be given the contract to do so. But I'm just saying, in passing, the Bopolu City.
No, that thing can be in passing. That's 1 million we're talking about
here.
The
Bopolu citizens were denied, and I'm just saying to you, they were denied something that they should have gotten. No work was done. Disbursement, 2 different disbursements was made to the contractor by Peace be to her Arches again, the late minister, and now the current former minister disbursed to that. No work was done. All those documents when I came, we investigated, and I turned it over to the LCC. I also turned it over to the assets recovery because I felt the LCC has not moved faster on it. So between the two of them, I hope somebody can be held culpable because it's almost $1 million that was disbursed.
So what is the standard practice for government disbursing money to contractors? Do they do some of the work, then you pay, or you pay upfront before?
The first thing is in the construction process, you do what you call advance payment.
Okay.
And the company has to bring what they call advance payment guarantee from a bank, that this money we're giving you, if you do not do the work, we can recover it from the bank. So the bank will provide that guarantee. So you take that advance payment and you go and work up to a percentage before you come back for pay. So we give you 30%, you work up to 65%. So that means you got to fund 35% yourself as a company. When you achieve 65%, then we pay you. So I don't even know what triggered the second payment. And that was my disappointment. The first payment was made, how did no work was done to certify that work was done to be paid.
Why they supposed to pave rigid pavement on the streets?
No, I think it was chip seal. It was
chip seal.
Asphalt pavement, chip seal. Yes.
Oh wow!
I think it was at one point it should have been 1.9 million for the project. Yeah. So, but I put all the document together and sent it to LSCC. I've sent it also to the asset recovery. I think something should be done because money was paid and no work was done. To date, it's still
those former officials and the company must be made to
stay there. So I hope they can do that. But let's move on. So that is in passing, and so even in River G, we should be doing some work in River G. In Bum, additional pavement should be done in Bum.
That's Banga.
In Banga. In River G, some work should be done in Maryland. We should do about 1 kilometer of rigid pavement in Maryland. In Grand Crew, we should do something around 3 to 4 kilometers.
Which part of Maryland, Harper or Plebo?
Well, Harper.
Okay.
Harper. In Barclayville, we should also do some pavement in Barclayville, rigid pavement, because Barclayville.
One could say Harper has a lot of rigid pavement. Plebo has, I think, Plebo should be bigger than Harper now. It has a whole long stretch of road that comes from the Plebo market, from where Plebo High School is, that goes all the way to CRC. That whole stretch of road is not paved, I believe.
Well, so that money is there for Maryland, not specifically, of course, the Harper City, but we're working with the lawmaker because on a particular arrangement to do that. So I hope
Okay.
that conversation can be held as to where you put that money. But the cities that don't have any pavement, we are intervening in those cities. Now, somebody asked about Cape Mount and Tottenham Bird. Cape Mount and Tottenham Bird not included because
And then Voyagerman.
under the Avangema also because under the Pavilion arrangement, there's a social corporate responsibility portion of that funding. It should be about, I think, about 7 million that should be used for pavement in the cities that are affected, in the counties that are affected. So some should be done in the not really much about it, but Bomi, Cape Ma, and Vonjima in the city streets. There will be work done under that Pavilion arrangement. So under this arrangement with the current budget, we didn't consider that. But the intent is to improve the pliability in the cities. At least
Cestos, Greenville.
Yeah, Cestos is also included. Greenville is included. I think there should be about 1 million worth of pavement in Greenville.
Yeah, because Greenville has some of the finest,
beautiful place,
streets names,
beautiful landscape. Yeah,
no, I know. I'm just concerned about the names.
The Mississippi Street.
Yeah, the Mississippi Street.
Yeah, that is a problem, and one of the streets that should be benefiting from that project. You can see that it needs to be rehabilitated. So in the cities, they are not left out. The intent is to improve the city. So you get in these cities, you can say you're in a city and then the place is dusty. There are a lot of dust all over the place. We intend to reduce that. So the cities themselves will benefit from our program as we stated in our strategy plan, in our plan when we went to the Senate for confirmation.
Do you have timelines for these cities and streets?
It's in this year budget, and we are hoping that the funding for those pavement can be escrowed because they are the win for under the arrangement we are getting with the support from, the signing off from the mental steel deal. So the counties have to benefit. We hope that we can fence it in escrow so that it's going to be used. Even if we run into next year to complete the project, it will be completed. But that's the intent. But the intent is that the counties will benefit from that. We should do some work also in that in Ganta also in terms of pavement. Yeah. So
this is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. We have with us Public Works Minister Giddings. We are talking about developmental initiative. No, we're not taking calls. Don't go there. We even hear calls here. I just want to let you know what is happening. Now, we move on to the big ones. The primary corridors. Central Liberia, Southeast, Northwest, Coastal Highway. So let's start with Central Liberia.
So Central Liberia, like you're aware, we've already paved from Rail Light up to Guinea border, which is within Ganta. The road has been paved from Ganta to Saniquili. There's conversation now with Mental Steel to pave from Saniquili to Yekepa. They have two contractors that have been doing some maintenance work on that corridor. Should be SSF and Chico that they're working with. According to conversation, they're advancing the process of pavement. I hope we can get that so we get Saniquili paved up to Yekepa. Also from Sikipa, like you know, we're paving up to Lokato to the border. That project is about 86% should be completed soon. There was an issue with the ERB funding for it. We already recovered that.
Yeah, because especially where the bridges are to connect them.
Yes, working with the African Development Bank. So that project has resumed.
Okay.
And we are hoping that it get completed very soon before the rains. If so, then somewhere in August or September, we get completed 100% to the border. That's that. Then from Ganta to Saklepi is already ongoing. We had to restart that project. It was started by the last government. It stopped. We got there. We had to restart it because first there was a liability of about $4 million that was not paid to the contractor. So we had to get that money, pay the contractor, re-engineer the contractor to get in the mood of restarting. They felt there were other liabilities, and because of the long span in terms of weight, it took time for them to get back on the road. But finally, they are on the road. They're already paving towards Saklepi. So we are about 25, to be about 25 kilometers now, 25 plus kilometers. So we are left with anywhere around just about 9 kilometers to be done.
Oh, okay.
There's financing that we also might get likely from additional financing from the bank, from the World Bank. But the government is making its commitment to that. So the pavement is going on currently. From Tapeta, from Saklepi to Tapeta, where we are about 92, 93% complete already into Tapeta, is to do the bridge. There's a bridge construction that should take place, which will be done.
Yeah, because I
So-
know I was down there more than a year ago, and the road was almost in Tapeta, so I'm still here. It's almost in Tapeta.
Yeah, we're already. No, I said we're already in Tapeta, and so now is, of course, there are remedial work that we'll continue to do while they're doing the bridge. There are places where they will leave to be done, but we are there. Then we should begin that process. The contractor has mobilized. They're doing the design to finalize the design because it was a design build type of project. So they're doing the design to begin the construction from Tapeta to Toastan. That's 40 kilometers. And Seco that's doing that. They've already beginning to do some mobilization in that corridor. So from Tapeta from Toastan to Zwerju, we completed the procurement process. It's already at the World Bank for final at the station. Once that comes back to us, we have a contractor on that corridor. And then, of course, up to Zwerju. And then we connected 10 kilometers to the border from Toastan, so also including the Ivorian border up there. We already also from Kilibo towards Zwerju, John Dewey Town, 61.5 kilometers, is already at the African Development Bank for approval. So they come back to us with approval to award to a contractor. And then we're getting into the bid document has been prepared for the last 48.5 kilometers to close the gap between Zwerju and John Dewey Town. So that is at the bank for the bank approval. Once they approve it, we start procurement process. So I can safely say to you, Julius, that by November of this year, that whole corridor will be occupied with 4 contractors paving the road, and that closes the gap to Fishtown. So by 2029 latest, you see us driving up to Maryland.
So,
on paved roads.
so what the vice president said was not a risk.
No, it's not. We are
Because he like put your government's whole re-election, the whole southeastern side on that road. That if it is not paved, they shouldn't vote for you people.
Well, I don't know about that one to say they shouldn't vote for us.
Yeah, he said it.
And for me personally, it's not about the next election. Like the president says, it's about the next generation. That's what we're working for. I don't really think about the election. You know why? Because when you think about the elections, then it troubles your decisions you want to take. Because you're always concerned about people voting for you. This is not, look, voting comes and is done once. Okay? But mainly, I'll tell you what the people want is to see their lives improving. And the things we have to do to improve the people's life, we have to take some strong decisions to do so. And that's what I believe in doing. So, yes, the election will always come, but it's about improving the lives of our people. I'm just saying by 2029, you could be driving to Harper on paved road, because by November, we have 4 contractors in that corridor paving the road, not doing maintenance work, but paving the road with asphalt or with what we call quota by our Liberian people. So that's that. So that will connect central Liberia now to the southeast from that end. We're also going to start.
No, but let's remain on that road, and let's. I guess you may say this is repetitive, but let's understand a few things. I get confused over the previous administration. For example, some of them make quite a whole lot of those officials say we secure funding on the road, so all you needed to come to do was to do this and then do the pavement and all of that. But if I hear about approval to World Bank and all of that, then I am confused. What is the actual story about the financial implication of the road from Tapeta to Fishtown?
Look, Julius, the project we call the Mana Rural Union Transport Infrastructure, for example, Facility Project. That project started since 2011, 2010. That's when that project was initiated by Madam Salif. That was to look at paving from Harper to the Ivorian border, from the Ivorian border back to Plibo, from Plibo to Fishtown, from Fishtown to Kilibo, from Kilibo to John Dewey Town, from John Dewey Town to Zwerju. That was supposed to be financed by the African Development Bank. The African Development Bank committed to that project long time ago. So it was in phases. So before the other government came, most of the projects were already designed and there were commitment to funding them. Even the CCRAM project we call CCRAM, the Southeastern Corridor Road Access Management Project. We designed that project. We named it, and that's the project named CCRAM. And that was done since 2013, 2014. I was at Public Works when we designed that project. It was supposed to be a PPP project. The bank has provided commitment to guarantee private sector companies. Before I left Public Works in 2018, we had 7 companies that were ready to pre-finance the pavement of that corridor from Ganta straight to Zwedru, 225 kilometers. They were already in the mood to do so. The only thing that we had to do to make sure when the road fund becomes functional, it functions properly. The last government came and took over the road fund. And the moment they took the road fund, they started to mismanage it. You could hear about money being used for different things. The MCC pulled out the support they had for the road fund. There was a matching fund of $1 million, $1 up to $8 million, $15 million. The MCC pulled that money away because of the way the fund was being managed. So that whole project collapsed. It had to be split into 2. The bank said we'll take phase 2, which is Tapeta to Zwedru. The government committed to phase 1, which was Ganta to Sacklepie, 39 kilometers, which never got ended. It stopped at 19 kilometers when they left. And they were owing the contractor $4 million that we had to kind of restart. So my thing is, these projects were built long time ago, and government will come and go. Let's continue with it. So when people say, we secure all the money for all the roads, that's not true. I don't like to argue with, I don't like to bid with that because it doesn't make any real sense to me. So that is that. So like we are doing now, we have secured, let me say, I will get to that, the funding now, I will tell you, in commitment up to Vonjima from Salaye. Okay? We've secured that in commitment. Now, if anything happens, we are not here, another government come and begin to do the road. That's it, it's done. Let's get the work done for our people. I'm not here to dive into, you did it, you secured it, we secured it. We are executing the projects that we built and we
but when
we formulated them.
No, sir,
okay?
but when you were in opposition, I remember many times we hosted you here. You in fact gave us a whole lot of ideas on all these projects. So I have an idea of a whole lot of things because of the information that you gave us.
Yeah.
There were times when that government wanted to claim glory. You say, hey, no, hold on. You need to acknowledge what we did on this. So I don't think it is wrong for them to also do the same.
But on that corridor, there's nothing new that they did. I can tell you a corridor that I can say here that the government secured money for.
Which one?
The road will be paved from Barclayville to Sass Town, to President Weah hometown, and up to Cloning, to the Africa Asset Bank and eBay. They secured that funding. We didn't secure it.
Okay.
They secured that funding. It's part of the coastal highway, but they secured the funding.
We'll come to the coastal highway.
So we'll talk about that. And when they secure, I will say, but the other projects that they met already in place, and to start to make noise that, they secured it. They didn't secure no money. I'm telling you how the projects were developed. I call the project name, and that's the name. It's called CCRAM, from Ganta to Sacklepie. We developed that as a PPP. The World Bank provided a guarantee of $48 million if we defaulted under the road fund. It was already in place. They came and started to mismanage the road fund, started to use almost $1.7 million from the road fund for other expenditure. That's how the partners started to pull back. That's what I'm saying. And so that project got disintegrated into 2. The bank said, no, we just financed this phase 2, which is Tapeta to Town. Sacklepie to Tapeta.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
That's what we take. The government, you can be responsible for Ganta to Sacklepie. That's how the project got disintegrated. But it was a project that was designed to go up to Zwedru. Now we went into what you call a retrap, which is the second phase of the project. We're using agricultural money now to finance the project. So yes, there are times where the other government made some effort in securing funding for this project. And of course, once you're in place, you're in the seat, there will be time you will do this thing. You have to sign the agreement, commitment that have been made already, but you will sign the agreement. So yes, of course, there's some agreement that is signed, and nobody's going to argue that. But what we are doing now is we are executing the projects. We are executing the project and getting new projects. And let me say this: we had to do heavy lift on most of these projects.
When you say heavy lifting, what do you mean?
Most of the projects were struggling. We met them with trouble. Like for example, the Banga Salaye project, we're going to finish it in March. We've been 2 years. We're just finishing it in March. We made the project almost crumbling. In fact, the donors, they were fatigued. We had to go to Kuwait to restart the project. We had lost out on that project that could take us to Vonjima. Thank God we've restarted it. And now it's functioning very well. In fact, the Saudis...
Have you people paid pay the loan. I think there was some kind of loan thing with
we
that
settled that with
project.
MPA. There was issue with MPA, the Kuwaitis, that have been settled. There was so many issues. There were issues with the contractor. They had up to $11 million owing the contractor that we had to pay. That was not paid. So there's a whole lot about the project. So we had to fix some of the projects that they messed up. Let me say it that way. They messed up that particular project. If we were staying in power at the time, that project would have been to Vonjima by now. I can say that. And so we restarted that. We've got the Saudis are in town to make that commitment. We spoke to them. There's a serious commitment about what we can do going forward up to Vonjima. We've secured 72 million between Badia, Ufik, and the Kuwaitis to do Salaye to Konya, and then we also annex Zozo to Yala. Okay, it goes to the border, to the Guinean border. We connected that to it. We built that into the project. Some new pieces, about 6 kilometers. We added that to that. So that's what we done. So we had to rework a lot, and that's why I hear them making noise. We sent the king 2 years into the new project. You know the mess they left here for us to fix, especially in the road sector. Some of these projects to get started. There's a whole lot that we had to do to restart some of the projects. And so now they're going to see some new projects that they're talking about. When we start doing the Pevifort deal from Simple Bridge to Bowater side, from Bowater side to Bowater side to Tottenham,
we will come to that.
Are
we done with the?
Well, then you know. So I'm feeling that piece.
With the Southeastern.
Then I'm coming down to the northwestern side.
Okay.
And then I'll go to the coastal highway. So from Salaye, Banga to Salaye, that's what I said. We're completing that project now. By March, it'll be completed. But when we went to Kuwait, I spoke to the Kuwaiti because our design has a one layer project. That means one layer asphalt design. And I feel it's not right to do because that road is a regional corridor. The axle load on that road is it's going to be heavier than what you expect, so we can have a one layer. So the Kuwaitis bought to that. They agree. Badia has accepted. We spoke to OPEC. They also think that should happen. The Saudis, I was just with them in a meeting. They think it's something that could be possible, but they're waiting for the chief to come to town during when we're doing the final dedication of that project, and we can make that request officially. But in principle, there's that commitment to do so. So we're going to put a second layer on the 81 kilometer, and then design the corridor with double layers straight to Vonjima.
You mean the one from Banga?
Banga.
You're going to put another layer on it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because a single layer. And I believe we can have the single layer road on that. It's a regional corridor. So we're going to do that and design the corridor straight to Vonjima with 2 layers. So let me say, from Vonjima to Konya, it's about 50 kilometers, but we have a little over the amount we needed for that project. We'll have 72 million. It's more than what we have. So it takes us a little bit beyond Konya. We are now in the process of doing the procurement to update the design, okay, and get to procurement. So we are hoping to, by November, end of the year, we can have a contractor starting to build the road from Salaye to Konya. Money is not an issue. We have the money secure already. The conversation now with the rest of the partners, especially with the Saudis, is to see how we can do the last 64 kilometer up to Vonjima. And that is something that they've already, in principle, committed to, ready to do anything to work with us. And so I can safely say to the people of Liberia, in that corridor and in that region, that we have funding to pave from Salaye straight to Vonjima, which is something that we'll be looking to do ever since. The next piece to that is from Vonjima to Foya Minikoma is under the Pevifort D. So very soon you'll see mobilization in that corridor to start to work to pave the road, because that is what we've done under the Pevifort arrangement, which is a PPP arrangement for paving those corridors. So we can safely say we have funding and the modalities to pave from Salaye to Vonjima, from Vonjima straight to Foya up to Minikoma to the Sierra Leone border. That is in place already. What we need to do is just execution. And all that's required to do execution is what we're doing at the Ministry of Public Works, working with our partners. So
you sound very optimistic when you yourself have said from Konya to Vonjima, the Saudis have agreed in principle. So I said from Salaye to Konya we have the funding. Yes, you have the
from Konya to Vonjima, they've agreed in principle. In principle means the only reason why they will say no, except we don't do what we're supposed to do.
What are you supposed to do?
Okay, so we are doing now. We're updating the studies, which is required, and the design. They've said that the dedication will be done by March next month, and we are hoping that their overall achieve for their mission will come to town, and we can officially present that to them. But in principle, they have agreed that they're ready to fund additional projects. That's
It's a grant or a loan?
No, it's a concessional loan.
Okay.
Concessional loan. Most time concessional loan. Very low interest rate and, of course, long payment period. Once in a while, they may put a grant element if they choose to, but it's a concessional loan. But it's a good loan because it's what we use to fund the first corridor, the 81 kilometer. They are part of the funding. They funded that corridor also. So it's the Kuwaitis, Badia, Ofek, the Saudis, they were Abu Dhabi, but they left. So the four of them that fund the first one, the first 81 kilometers. So they are not a stranger to the project. So that's what I'm saying, in principle, they're ready to, because the first three funders have agreed to do the 50 kilometer. That is Badia, Ofek, and the Kuwaitis. So they did not participate in the 50. So they're ready to come to do the 64. And of course, if their commitment is not completed, we'll go back to the Kuwaitis, which we feel they're the father for that project because they initiated it. They led the Arab Consortium to get it to where it is. So I'm saying it with confidence that we have the funding to go up to Vanjima because I know the conversation we've had and I know the commitment that they made. So I put my neck on the chopping board for that. I can chop it off.
I have very sharp cutlasses.
So please do so. So that's that, and then up to Foya Minikoma. So if we talk about the Western Corridor, like I said, then I'll go to the coastal highway quickly.
Yeah, that Pavi port.
Pavi Fort.
Okay, Pavi Fort that you're talking about. I've heard and read a whole lot of bad things about them. Even though they were passed by legislature, they signed into law, but there are a whole lot of issues. Have you heard those concerns? Have they come to your table? Have you investigated them?
You know the thing about it. If you're in a space, whether it's the public space or the private space, or the space that connects you to the public space, whatever it is, there will be stuff about you. Whether it's true or not, there will be stuff about you. Even the news can carry things that are not true. And sometimes you hear news outlets sometimes rewrite and say, oh, no, we apologize for this. It was wrong information. We got it right information. So these things happen when you're in the space. What we did a due diligence on Paveford as a company that submitted unsolicited bid to participate in our road sector. I was one of those that went to the World Bank and said to the World Bank, we cannot continue to look only to donor partners to fund our road. Over the last 20 years, the investment we made has not gave us more than 1,005 kilometers of roads. So we can't continue to do this. We need to bring in the private sector. And I think based on that conversation with the World Bank, there was this conversation about investment in our infrastructure. So they work with us to get a PPP policy. The cabinet just passed on a PPP policy that allows us now to negotiate with a private financier on any infrastructure project for the matter of fact. So the policy is in place. So I said we need to do that. The World Bank need to help us through MEGA to provide the guarantee required. Because I made a sector development plan that says that we will build 1,000 kilometers of road every 10 years. And I said the deficit we have is about 11,000 plus. If we do 1,000 kilometers every 10 years, we're talking about 110 years that we're going to take to build all our road. If we decide to build all the road in terms of pavement, if we say we want to do 50% of that, you're talking about 55, 60 years. I said that to the bank when I had the spring meeting, that then maybe I was sitting, in fact, all of us around it will not be living. People like Liberia can pave about 50% of a road network. This is unacceptable. In my mind, we need to enhance that by private sector involvement. So I'm happy that the Paveford D is the first major one compared to the one that was done with East International for RIA. This one is a major one that has come up, and we did due diligence on our company. The company works in Sierra Leone, they do in Sierra Leone, they do in Guinea, they do in the Gambia. We had our technical team to go out there, and it's a full report on the due diligence of the capacity. In fact, if you go along the corridor now, they're building a campsite. You see the campsite. Well, as far as I know, we've already done the request for duty-free on some of the equipment that they should be bringing in country. In fact, they are also partnering with other companies. They got companies that they partner with, and you hear some of the names that they're partnering with that will have to do the work that they are doing. So we are confident that the Paveford deal, the Paveford company is going to pave the road. You're going to see work happening now. So about all the other issues about them that people talk about, we did our own due diligence. As far as we know, the company has the capacity to do the work.
Okay. Now, coastal corridor.
So the coastal corridor is one piece that is very important to us. This is a corridor that we designed again as the Unity Party-led government. We did that in 2011. We had funding from the EU to have done the studies. So they did a preliminary study that we had, a preliminary design. And so that has been in place, of course, but not much has been done over the last years. Since we took over, we did a assessment of that. So we're doing studies from Buchanan straight to Greenville. That study will be completed in a few weeks. We should be going to Brussels, hopefully this month, by the end of the month. Should be going to Brussels at the EU Investment Forum. So the African Development Bank has committed already to do 56 kilometers, and that will include from the port of Buchanan to Sass Town Junction. That one we got a commitment from the African Development Bank. They have told us to do the studies, do the design, is a precondition to approving the funding under the ADF 17, which will come up very soon. We've done the designs. It will be up. It will be ready. So that approval is going to come very soon for the first 56 kilometers to Sass Town Junction. We've been talking also to the EU. They have not made any full commitment, but they are key to work with the EIB and other funders to get us from Sass Town Junction to Greenville. The investment fund we're going to Brussels is to also make the case for this project. And there's no 100% commitment yet, but I can see that we're going to get that commitment up to Greenville. So if we do, then we have a gap of just 48 kilometers, because on the African Asset Bank and the Indian Asset Bank from the project that was done, that will be done from Barclayville to Sass Town Junction to Cloney, which was initiated by the last government. Kudos to them. There's a gap of 48 kilometers that we need to cover, and then between Plebo and Barclayville, 75 kilometers. So we are also looking for partners to fund that, because if we don't do that, then that means Barclayville is not stay connected to the rest of the counties by way of Plebo. So we need to close that gap. That gap is something we're looking for to fund now with other partners. One of the other things that has happened is that we have this commitment from a company, Kijo, that want to do from Greenville to Babu's Town, which will connect to the pavement that comes from Zreju to John Dewey Town through the Sapo National Park.
Okay.
It's a concession that we are now discussing. It's gone to the IMCC to discuss that for that to be paved. It's also on the PPP, just at the Pave 4D. We're going to get more of that. We're doing that for there's a company called WHBO that we did a non-binding MOU with. They're doing the studies now from Tottenham Borough to Sawmey, from Brewerville to Sawmey, from Sawmey to Bopolu, and from Bopolu to Kolahon. We want to connect Bopolu to Kolahon to Lofa. So that means you want to go to Lofa, you don't have to go through Banga. You can go right there and you're in Lofa, especially if you're going to Vahon or Kolahon. That is a legacy project that the president wants. We want to do that. The last piece that I will tell you about that connects, I call it the WA project, and I call it President Barker's legacy project. If it's not going to get ended, I want to make sure it gets started before we leave, if we should leave. So
let's just say before 2029, because we don't know what could happen.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying, before 2029. So this is what's going to happen. When you get to Bijo Town, it goes to compound number 3, locked. That road takes you to Bum, and it takes you to Nimba along the track. There's a bridge over the St. John River. So it takes you to Bodota. So if you take that way, it can connect you to Bum, straight on the Kota to Bodota, the road that goes to the Guinean border, to Banga. Then if you take that road and you turn right, you can go along the train track straight to Saklipi. So it's going to connect you to 2 paved roads already. I call that the Warren project, and I call that the legacy project for President Barker. And I believe we can do that. I presented that to the World Bank when the team came and they're looking at the CPF for Liberia. And since the World Bank has funded all the project now, the retrap that goes to Tapeta, from Tapeta to Zreju,
Are you
I'm
talking
looking
about
at them.
a road that comes from Basa, passes
Yes.
through We District, and also goes to, I think, Bongo, Nimba? One of them?
Yes, that's it. It goes to compound number 3 and goes to that district. It goes to Nimba, it goes to Bum.
Okay.
It goes to Bum, you get to Bodota.
So that is like having a whole central region just...
Yeah, so it goes like there, and it goes like there, and it goes like this. So I said the WA project, and I called it the legacy project. And I presented that to the bank. And they said, wow, this is a very
What
good
does the
project.
president think about it?
The president thinks very highly about that, because you know why? In terms of the economic potential, okay, it's highly concentrated. You have mining companies, you have mining concessions there, you have agriculture programs. I mean, you have everything right in that particular corridor. In terms of the economic potential, it is very viable. And when we presented that to the bank, just preliminarily, they think it's a good project. So we're still selling it. There's a possibility we will get some commitment for that project. So I can say I have laid out the entire country to an extent as to how we get it connected from county to county.
It is almost like the
just
15
primary
capitals
role.
being connected.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we're trying to do. But not just connecting them, but to also create a kind of easy accessibility between counties. So, for example, if you want to leave on Buchanan to go to Bomb, you don't have to come down to Monrovia because it's exactly what you have to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to come down to Habel, go through Mangibi and therefore you go. No, you can just cut right through there and you're in Borota, you're in Bomb. You want to go to Nimba, you have to do the same. Those rules are there, but they are not as they should be, and we want to make them part of the major primary corridors.
You sound very optimistic. What could go wrong that make you to achieve this?
So let me say this. There are a lot of goodwill out there with the partners and private sector. What we need to do in-house is to fix what we are fixing. And good for us now that most of the PPP that we're setting up, there's no guarantee that we have to provide. Our thing and my championing that I want to do is to make sure the road fund can expand. If that road fund is able to generate up to 70, 80, 100 million every year, we can attract private investment to do our roads.
Well, I was doing some research, and it proves that the road fund is actually able to generate that, but there are issues.
The road fund is actually able to generate that. Now we are doing anything around 45, 42, 42, 43 million dollars. It can do more than that, but we're trying to fix the whole road fund in terms of movement, money where it's moving. First is to go to the consolidated
monitoring
account.
too.
To the consolidated account, we've agreed. The president agreed with me. We work with cabinet. I insisted. We've agreed on that there's a special escrow account for the road fund. So instead of going to the consolidated account, it goes to the escrow account, though under the supervision of the Ministry of Finance.
What about monitoring
But
at
that's a
places
mix of
like
that.
LPRC?
Secondly, it's been agreed that the road fund has a representative to the print of lift, for example. Mm-hmm. Secondly, there was an argument that the private sector get issue. The petroleum companies, they get some issue too. How did they put them more government, but they got issues. They want pay, they want lift the product. Oh, we got money, we'll pay later on. They want pay on lift, they want pay on input. The law say pay on input. You import 1 million barrel, pay our taxes, lift your petroleum product whenever you want to lift it at your business. Just pay our taxes. That's what the law say. Mm-hmm. They say no, we get money, we want to lift it first. When we sell, then we pay. That where all the nyama can take place. So we're trying to fix that, and it's been agreed now that on importation, that's what you pay on. We're working with them to fix it. So there are some.
What about companies that were supposed to pay some road fund that I think previously they entered some agreement and they slashed them down to what they were supposed to pay?
Yeah, they stay owing. Some of them stay owing. They've been paying, but some of them stay owing. They know that I will not name them, but they stay owing. And I know when the government go through the Ministry of Justice now to begin to push them harder, then they politicize it. But you want all the government money, you won't pay. The road fund money, you keep in it. So, but we're working with them. They've been paying, but some of them stay old. But my thing, Judas, I'm saying is domestically, we can generate a lot. Now, if we put in the toll system, the toll system that we're beginning to do, because on RRA we have 2. You can go to the airport, you don't pay 2. We have it there. We're having it on our road to go to Banga. We put down the secret corridor.
That could increase transportation.
No, a little bit. But you see, the thing about it, you increase transportation a little bit, but then you got good roads. So think about this. Think what people do now. People are excited. We have not paid up to Harper yet. You can leave from here and go to Harper in 9 hours, 10 hours, you're in Maryland. It never happened over the last years. Even dry season, people will not be able to make it to go there so easily. But people can just traverse between Harper and Monrovia and Harper and Zwerju now like that. That's what we're talking about. So if you accept to pay a little more, because when you pay the toll, the driver, the taxi driver can pay $1, you pay 75 cents for everybody in the car, because I was to go. To come, the simple that you bring in, take 75 cents from the money you take from there, pay that toll. It's not going to hurt. It's not even going to impact the price the way you think it should. But just that, because there's also not much in terms of monitoring, and because the people, they drive themselves, like to do that thing. The gasoline price come down, they know they're not buying the $750 anymore, they're buying the $600. They will still be stealing from the people. But they got those same people, they sell in the Tesla, they put them on, they come on feature, they come on feature and let them steal. It's just a rule. That's all they're doing that. But the driver, the gas price has come down 3 weeks ago. You still taking from the passenger the same amount when it was $750, and now it's $650. $100 now only. You can't by yourself, you're self-conscious and adjust it. Well, you come at me, you ain't got policemen to go behind everybody in the desert to find out what they're doing. So they themselves got the issue. So the point I'm making is, once you put that tool in place, look, we can domestically pave our roads. We can raise the resources domestically to pave our roads. I believe so, and that can happen. And that's why I'm working with the Road Fund, with the Ministry of Finance, with Cabinet, to say, look, let's keep pushing. And we are getting some of the things we want. And I know we can do it.
This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. We have with us Liberia's Public Works Minister, Roland Lifford Giddings. Maintenance zones. Let's talk. No, we take it. Yeah, where my people? I'll get your time. Yeah, we still got things to go over. We are driving to hotter places, small maintenance zones. Let's talk about the maintenance zones and combine it with the yellow machines. So I am wondering on the question of the yellow machine, why do we need another committee? There is Public Works, there is GSA, there is the presidential committee that the vice president heads. Why do we need another body for yellow machine business?
So let me start from where the president thought that this is something that we should do. All of us grew up in Liberia before the crisis. I was young, but I didn't see it, but I knew there was something they call public work, in some of the counties. The president was not that young up before the war, but he saw it growing up. So he believed in it, and he knew that it works. So when we had a conversation about what to do with our roads, and when we're talking about 100 days, no guy gets stuck in the mud, for example, I sat with him, and the conversation was that, look, brother, you know that we used to have the maintenance zones before? And I said, yeah, I heard that Pablo used to have. Yeah, I said, well, those things used to work. Why can't we get it happening again? And I said, Mr. President, yes, why not? So that was his vision, to bring back the maintenance zone. And we initiated that. We developed it into the concept. In fact, we have the design for what it should look like. And we said, let's get it started. But let me tell you what I did before. I took one set of machine and sent it to the Southeast. I think it was 2 trucks, one grader, one motor grader, one front end loader, one compactor to the Southeast. That machine worked in Maryland with the lawmakers there. I worked with them. It worked with them and the superintendents. It left from there, went to Grand Crew. It did a lot of work in Grand Crew. It left from Grand Crew. It's in River G now. In fact, the NEMA caucus on my back with River G to get it from there. I'll show you the next 1 week or so we'll get it into NEMA. It worked. And so I know it can work. Okay, we tried it can work. So we set up the zone. We are bringing equipment that has never been brought to the country before in that quantity. It's 285 pieces. Before then, they used to have the public work, in some counties, not every county. What we said this time, we put it in every county. Every county will have their own machine. So they are customized. So if you see the machine with a flag on it from River G going to Maryland, you can, as a citizen, you can even arrest it. You can stop and say, you're not going, where you going to Maryland? If you spoil, they should repair you, go back to River G, they will repair you there. You shouldn't be in Maryland. So it's customized for that. So it's set up. The president in his wisdom, as much as, and don't take that from public work, we have the capacity to do so. But the president in his wisdom believed that the president has the authority to set up anybody he chooses to do. And he felt there should be a special project out of the president's office to work with us, bring in other agencies. We brought in the GSA. GSA responsible for assets, which you know, doing the coding. The Ministry of Defense will help us with some security. That's a lot of equipment. We're clearing sites around the counties. We're going to put in tower legs, all of that there. But we also working with the AFL, because I have done some work with the AFL before. I've signed, if I were working on an MOU with the AFL now too, I've spoken to the Defense Minister working on an MOU to do some work for us. They want to do sour restoration, do basic work. Places we don't have sour, we want to work with the AFL to do that. Because they have an engineering department that has the capacity to do so. So we're working with the AFL. So the AFL is on. Also the Ministry of Agriculture. And why the Ministry of Agriculture also? Because we'll be doing farm to market rules. Secondly, the Ministry of Agriculture is also bringing quantity of machines. About almost 300 pieces of agricultural machine will be coming in the country very soon. That's a whole lot. The president in the vision believe it can't just be a one ministry thing. Let's set up a body to work with you, to coordinate, so that we get it done. Once it gets started and get to the point where we see it functioning, we can scale down. But the president has set up the body. And the president in his wisdom believes so, that this is what we should do. we also supported that and provided the support. And so the Minister of State, because out of the President's office, chair that committee. I'm the co-chair.
Isn't that going to create a whole lot of bureaucracy?
That is what we're trying to do, not to do so. And so it is very clear and simple. It will be very simplified as to how it get executed. Very simplified. It's not going to create the bureaucracy that you think it will create. But the President, in his wisdom, believes we should bring this body together. And we are working with the body to do so.
Because when a whole lot of people saw that, they felt like, okay, perhaps public works could be overwhelmed, or they are ineffective, or they are not able to manage the machines. The GSA, public works, they're just not able. So that's why the President is constituting another body.
Well, if you look at public works and I say public works is not effective, then you got to be joking.
In terms of managing the machines?
Well, I told you that I did a test of that and sent.
Just small machine, man.
I'm just saying
two machines, send it somewhere.
Yeah, so but I'm just saying to you, it got nothing to do with incapacitation.
Okay.
It got something to do with the President believing that there should be a broader body to look at this and work through it. We don't want any error. You know what? There were times where people say, no yellow machine come here. So lie. You're lying. So you can't hear that anymore. What you're hearing now is, what the other body for? The President believes this body should work to do this. We are working with the body. We put that structure together. And let me say this to you. It's going to work. You're going to see the machines everywhere, and our people will get exactly what they've asked us to do to create the accessibility across the country.
How are roads helping to address the bread and butter issues, the economic benefits? Let's talk about that.
I don't want to sound like the Minister of Finance, because it got to the point where you say, the people wants to create the Ministry of Bread and Butter, because I don't know how people define bread and butter. They don't connect it to some of the things that are done to create bread and butter. So this thing is about disposable income. Okay, and to create disposable income is to make economic investment. If a study has shown that the binding constraint on growth, economic-wise, is investment in two major infrastructure, in roads and in energy. The government has taken both steps to continue to make these investments in roads and in energy. And once you do that, it creates the investment climate for people to invest. First, if we create accessibility, if people know that the country is accessible, that means you can get to places you want to get. It allows them to go and see the investment potential in this area. If an investor comes and goes to the Southeast and see the investment potential and believe that I think I can open, for example, a factory here because I can access Monrovia quickly to set up a factory or to set up a plant here. And because there's energy being produced, for example, to allow me to do so, what happened? Jobs will be created. When jobs are created, there is disposable income that comes in the hands of others. That can allow them to settle the quote-unquote bread and butter issue. If you invest in roads and you invest in energy, one of the things with roads, you reduce the prices. You know what it used to take to go to Maryland? People used to pay up to $15,000, $20,000. You know that. You don't do that now. So you've saved some of the money that you could use to pay up to $15,000, $20,000. If you're paying $5,000 now, you're saving up to $10,000, $15,000 that can be used for something else. That has helped. The next thing that could happen, Judas, is to also reduce travel time. If you take 2 weeks to go to Maryland just to do a business, some people used to carry goods to sell. They would take 2 weeks. So because of that, you can't carry certain goods because if it's perishable, it gets damaged on the road. So you have to carry goods that are not perishable. So the perishable goods will just get damaged. So you got to carry goods non-perishable. But you got to take almost 1 whole week to reach there. So because of that, when you get to Maryland, the cost is very high. That doesn't happen anymore. So there are a lot of savings as a result of the investment in infrastructure. Now, yeah, people say, that road we eat or invest in road. We understand that. We understand the layman way of thinking about that. We understand the politics around it. But I'm telling you, that's exactly what it would
because
do.
Some of the people did it too. So other people think they'll do it or you do.
That's their business. If you improve infrastructure, it allows you to deliver basic social services. It allows you to deliver healthcare. Now, those who could not access, for example, the Tapeta Hospital, which is one of the referral hospitals now, people were right in Ganta, people were right in Banga, and could not access Tapeta Hospital. For major things that they needed to do, they had to come to Monrovia. Now you can just go to Tapeta Hospital and get those kind of medical care that you need to get because of the sophistication of the hospital. That's what he's going to do. Those who could not access, for example, the Technical College in Maryland County, from Ganta to think about that, you have people who could leave from Maryland and go to Harper to school. and weekend they come back to Zreju, from Zreju. They can do that. I can just go there for school week, stay 1 week, and come back to Zreju. I can live in Zreju and go to school in Maryland at the Technical College. You couldn't do that before with what the condition of the road was, but you can now do it. So the bread and butter issue is being addressed. The issue of job creation will come about when you invest in major infrastructure. That's what the screen shows. So that's why investing in energy, investing in road, investing in seaports, airports should be what we should do. And that's what we are doing. So the major benefit for investing in these particular infrastructure. And I believe that. So when people criticize investing in roads, that's not all you do, but you got to invest in road to bring the investment. You got to create accessibility for people to access the country. If people can access the Southeast and go and see that there's a major investment they can make in the Southeast, but because of the road they can't get there, they don't do it. If now the roads are good, they can make the investment and create jobs in those different economic potential corridors. So we believe what we're doing is right, and we're going to do it.
What happened with the president's speech? What was... Of course, we heard the Minister of Information came up, provided some clarification, but I still thought the clarification needed clarification. How did we get what got in the speech, and what was the intent? What was actually intended to be said?
So look, again, the Minister of Information provided the statement about where we're wrong, and I think he provided the explanation for that. Every military agency provide, script to the president's office for the president's speech, and we who are the technicians who write it the way we think it should be. But sometimes there can be some way that those who write the speech want to rephrase and all that, and sometimes if you just rephrase something, it changes the content. I think that was what happened. Okay. So
it was not a problem from part of us because there are a whole lot of people who want for your head to roll for allegedly making the president to lie.
So let me say this. I stayed 7 years in the executive mansion. I also contributed to some part of Madasedi's speech when we were in the PDU. I know that. I know how to write the speech. Let me say it that way. And what I sent, I wrote it as that. Again, those who write it may want to rephrase, but don't know that if you rephrase, it could change the content of what we're trying to say, and that's exactly what happened. I'm sure the Minister of Information provided the clarity. So we'll move. No, but let me say this.
But that particular clarity too was not clarified.
But let me say this.
So since you are the technician,
so let me say this. No, what we've done now, and since 2024, we've paved 121 kilometers of road since we got into power. That's about 1.3% since.
That is paving.
Paved, yeah, paved road. 121.87 kilometers we paved.
Okay.
Since we got into power, since 2024. That's about 1.2, 1.3% since we got into power. But that shows that the level of work that we've done over the last 2 years, by the end of this year, the pavement record will shoot up. I'm not talking about we'll get in 2027. We are projected in the AAID to pave 485 kilometers of road over the next 5 years. But what we have now on our target in terms of project, we've already exceeded that. If we work hard, we could pave up to 600 plus kilometers of road for what we have in place. So we will do a very good job. And the president will have a lot more to say about pavement. And the records will show that, will prove that, it will be seen in his next speeches to come. So this is
and so were you saying that by 2029 you would have increased pavement to up to 20% of the country?
Yes, we're saying currently it's at anywhere around 10% below 12%. But by 2029, we will be hitting up to 20%. 20%, if you calculate that, is about 485. But I'm telling you, we could even surpass 20%. We'll be anywhere around 21, 22%. Very possible.
Okay. So do you think people should be punished for that?
Well, how am I the one to decide who should be punished for that? I'm not the one to decide that.
What will you do?
I don't think so. People make...
What will you do if it were in your case? I probably was that Benjamin Myers and other people wrote stuff that made you to kind of lie. Yeah, what will you do to them?
Sometimes there's an honest error. And I think it was an error. I don't think anybody was looking to just do it because they wanted to do it. It was an honest error. And so that's it. We'll move. But the president's next speech will encapsulate a lot that we will not have the issue. You see that.
Why are you demolishing people's properties, allegedly, some illegally occupying, and you are not applying humanity as a government, providing a way out. Yes, you want to carry out development, and everybody welcomes that. But there is, and the law is the law, but there is also a higher moral law to take care of the poor and all of that. A whole lot of those people, places you are demolishing are poor people. Why couldn't the government, out of a $1.2+ billion budget, find some kind of way out for those people?
Which places you're talking about that we're demolishing? I want to be specific.
How you call it, Roto Town? You just mentioned Roto Town,
Okay.
area, and all those places.
So look, this is it. Most of the people were spoken to months ago. In fact, I saw the altercation between my Assistant Minister for Planning and Programming and Senator Sass Joseph when we went there to finally execute the demolition. After months, we gave them for 5 to 6 months. When we were there, it was already 5 to 6 months. They were told that they were in the pathway that is public land, and that was a pathway to create a road. They agreed. You see, the thing about it, let me say that the people themselves want development. Let me say it that way. As much as it hurts sometimes to do what you do, but the people want development. And when you're in places that you shouldn't be, for example, like in an alley, in a right of way, we don't have money to pay as a government. If the government starts to pay, we won't do anything. Because then we will encourage people for building places that they shouldn't build. Let me give you one instance that we'll do, and you will talk about it again. We pay people from Real Light to Kakata when we're building that road. We secure the right of way. We put right of way markers on the road. You know what people did? Some people can build in front of it. The markers are there.
Those cases are different.
This is the demarcation. I'm just saying that to you. They've come there and they build there. We'll go there. We'll soon get ready to go on our Kakata road. People will talk about it. But we'll clear them from the places that they've been paid for.
No,
already.
those ones I
I'm
understand.
just saying to you, that's
in this case,
I'm also
it was
saying
because
to
of the war.
Yeah.
Some of these people came occupied those places for a very long time.
I'm also saying to you,
I am saying, while it is true that the government has the right and the law backs the government, but there is a human side. The government has a whole lot of other lands that you could.
So this is why
you could do some quick impact building projects and then move them there.
So this is why the human side. The human side is when we get to the place and realize you're in a right of way, we don't just remove you. We let you know. We give you time to adjust because we understand that you have to adjust to that. We don't come to you today and tomorrow we'll move.
What about take money from the
we give
payment?
you
You know a whole lot of
adjust.
people pull.
Also, that means so you see now this is the problem.
Yeah,
so
help them.
Then because of that, we will not do any development here. Because
No,
you know what?
you can
if I
still
show
do it.
you, if I show you the record that the government has spent on just resettlement over the last year, you won't believe it. There's so much, especially for the big projects. There's so much money we pay out for people, and because of that, people intentionally, when they know that there's a project coming, they come and start to build in places and just even makeshift because they want to get some compensation.
No, the ones that we are talking about, sir,
my thing
are
is-
people who have
my
been
thing
there.
is-
Some 10 years, 20 years,
So-
30 years.
So if you're in the, and we open some alley on the Oro, there are people who were there for 35 years. But it means because it's 35 years you build in the alley and people to you that the alley, you say, when the government ready, I will move. I've heard that from many persons. When the government ready, I will move. When we went to Simple Bridge, to clear Simple Bridge corridor, we're marking the structure. I will only feed myself. You know what I heard people telling me? They say, poor women, send it out and be marking, they can't come. They just mad to go. 1 week after, when we got there and started doing the demolition, then they realized it was serious. The point I'm making to you, the people themselves tested the government in ways that sometimes we have to show that the government exists and made to do well.
Sir,
so
yeah.
on the issue, on the issue of compensation, there are places where there could be some kind of compensation settled by government, possibly. What we are doing in places that we are building road, especially in right of way, if you're in those corridors. In fact, most of the people have agreed to do self-demolition. The Chikisu Factory road, we're building the road like this, very narrow. When we got there, the people themselves say 1 hour road, they started to cut their buildings by themselves. People do self-demolition because they understand that where they are, they shouldn't be there. And they shouldn't require the government to give them money to build their own road in places that they shouldn't be. If the government does that, we're not going to do any work.
Is there,
we're not going to have money to build the roads.
Is there any reason why roads that partners are joining you to do, whether through loans or grants, that they insist that you do resettlement action plan before they can come in?
I think one of the reasons why the partners do that, they don't want noise according to them, with the projects that they do. They think that
it is you, the government, that actually needs noise.
They think that the government settled. They think that the government sat down and allow people to do whatever water or not. Government should have stopped people from building places that shouldn't build.
And that's the point.
So you see,
and so government is also a problem in this case.
So we had, of course, and we have inherited that. We want to change the story down. And let me say this to you: look, the people I've seen, I've gone to do demolition. I was on the site. Some of the places were doing demolition. You know what people say? Development come with pain. We see it. You're breaking. You just make sure no partiality in the things you do, and you're open the road. We okay. The people accepting it. It's just that there are some people who want to some people were here. Let me be political. They didn't do nothing. They couldn't even move 1 inch anywhere. They were comfortable with the city that they had. They couldn't even, when they building road, they banned it all kinds of ways. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to take the bold action. We are here now. We are taking the action that's required, and they won't put the people against the government. The people themselves know that what the government is doing, to an extent, is in their interest. If we are able to build a road that brings you from Garnersville all the way to Monrovia along the Tottenham Boulevard, without accessing Tottenham Boulevard, the number of times you stay in the traffic, the inaccessibility sometimes, when there's riot, all kinds of things, they block your road and there's another road that you can access. Who doesn't want that? The people want development. We leave here, we go to other countries, we see what it look like. We appreciate it. And when we're taking the steps to do that, and then people want to politicize it, we are not. And let me say this: the president, except he called me and said, we're going to stop. And maybe when he says stop, after a while, I could say, no, Mr. President, I can't stop. Then the other joy is it making me weak, because not the kind of joy I want to just sit down and take pay. I want to get things done. We have to transform the country. And the president has given us the blessing to do that. We will be peaceful. We'll work with our people. We'll give them time to adjust to what we are doing. But Julius, we'll proceed and open up these alleys and build the cities that we all can be proud of.
One of the issues too that people are concerned about is there were times in the past that some demolitions took place and the developments did not go there. How sure can we be that when you clear these alleys, that 1, 2, 3 years from now, we actually see the roads being usable?
You know what we're doing now? As we clear the alley, I've instructed our operational division to take the motor grader to those places and open it and make it pliable. Where we need to install covers, for example, we do it. In fact, we are doing that now on the old road. We're installing 2 covers to connect 2 of the alley we open. We put dirt, we open it. We have a lot of dirt here. It will be open. Motorcycle will use it. Keke will use it. Cars will use it. We don't have to pave it yet because we don't have all the money to pave it. But we open it and make it pliable. We're doing it. Rototown, very soon you'll see a vehicle passing along that corridor.
I was hearing some things about somewhere around here. How do you call this place? It's somewhere below on the other side of this road. So somewhere in this district 8, where former Representative Gray used to live at Right Spring Valley. Sleway. They say you also moving there.
So we're making an assessment. That road I go to Sleway, it should end up on Jalatan.
So you'll be clearing.
We're going there to see if it's an alley that's supposed to go up to Jalatan and you're on it. We'll have a conversation with you. So that maybe you come from across the bridge and you're not coming up to Broad Street. You don't have to come to Broad Street. You get into Sleway and then you're in Jalatan, you go. Or you come from a single Jalatan, you come down Sleway, you go straight to the bridge and you go. We want to open it up. We'll go and assess and see what's there. If it's not an alley, we understand the people on there. And let me say this. Once you have private property, we take care of that. Like on the Paco Island, we're doing 30 feet. That's the measurement for that alley. Beyond 30 feet, if we can do your private property, the government will have to compensate you for it. In your private property, we will do so. But if it's
if it is a legal private property.
Exactly. If it's within the right of way, we just give you time to adjust, and we can ask you sometime, cut it yourself. And you see the people cutting it themselves.
I've been reading this on social media and from a whole lot of politicians. So let me ask you, is President Joseph Boaka's house in an alley?
How would be an alley? And you got the road passed before the president, you turn around the house. The house is surrounded by alleys all around. The one you see close to there, I forgot, but I think there's a law that allows that. He's the president. You can have vehicle passing from the president's house. No. You can have it happening. No way. It's not possible. to allow that place to be open? I know that's the question. Somebody said, "Oh, we're close."
No,
to
I mean people say his house is sitting on an alley.
No. You can see that there's, in fact, the house is surrounded by alleys.
Okay.
On all sides, in front, on the side, on the other side, the back. He has a neighbor in the back, so there's no way he can be sitting in an alley. But that blockade there is because he's the president. You can't have vehicle passing in front of the president's house.
Apart from roads, alleys, bridges, are there other developmental initiatives Public Works is involved with before we go to the lines?
So we did we did the infrastructure conference, and the president highlighted the issue of public buildings. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that came out of that conference. Our team now is working on the final report that will be validated by some of the conference participants at the Ministry of Public Works. We'll find a date to do the validation. When that is done, we'll sit down, share a copy with the president, and sit down to talk about the recommendation and what we need to do with some of the recommendations. If those are things that we can do within the purview of the ministries and agencies, we'll add any additional funding, we'll do so. If we need that, we'll say what it is. If we need our partners to help us with some of the process, we'll do so. So that will be presented to the president and onward to cabinet for cabinet endorsement on some of the recommendation. But there's also conversation about public buildings. So we, of course, looking at possibility of assessment on the public building. Like you heard about the Hotel Africa thing, there's some interest in the Hotel Africa. That property is situated on the 392 point something acreage. We want to claim the entire space that has been illegally occupied. That's a conversation that we'll be having. Of course, we spoke with the legislature coming in to talk about that, because I'm part of the IMCC with the NIC that was discussing that potential the investment proposal. But one of the preconditions was to make sure the place is clear out. That place is a very beautiful enclave, I believe, that we can turn into a new part of what Monrovia should look like. If you go there and see how people have built everywhere, no authorization, people selling land to them, they don't have the land, they're selling public land. You have the Unity Conference Center is occupied. If you go to the back of it, there's a beach in the back. The golf course is occupied. We have to clear it. It's public land. So there's a conversation with the government. Of course, there's some kind of arrangement that should be looked at for those people that is not alley, but it's they're in a space that they should not be anyway, but it's not their land, and we need land. There are investors that come and want to do a whole lot. You saw the beautiful to come up the Monrovia Mall that you see there, Monrovia Mall somewhere to Sophie Junction. It's a tight space. It's a beautiful mall, but if you have a space like that open and ready to give to an investor who want to build a shopping center, a shopping mall, or a theater, or just something, if you renovate, rehabilitate a hotel and turn that whole place into an enclave that makes a new city in the Broadway community, that's something that we should do. So
okay, now
securing the land is something that we stay up to do.
Talking about the conference, I know the ministry came out with a release, the fact that you didn't invite former officials initially and all of that. And then there was this complaint about one Monrovia that he brought out this whole idea about the infrastructure conference, and you seem not to have got him involved and all of that. How do you respond to that?
So, but let me talk to the first thing you say about me not inviting former officials. And
Initially.
Mm-hmm. So, look, we invited the Engineering Society. The former Minister of Public Works is a part of the Engineering Society. She's a member of that. But she felt we should invite her.
As the former minister.
Yes. So
I'm on Engineering Society, our whole group.
Yeah, so we took responsibility for that.
Yeah, sure.
We saw my apologies to her publicly. We invited her, booked a room for her, did her pass, and told her to show up to the conference on Wednesday. We're ready to accept her. She never showed up. So I just felt.
Did you personally call her later on, apart from the?
We spoke to her. I didn't have the president to call. I had people call and set up everything for her.
Okay.
But after we did that and she never showed up, I just felt she wanted to it was a showmanship that she was trying to create publicly. There was no need for that, but she did that. But that's okay. We handled it the way we could handle it. And I hope that she had come to the conference. Hey, look, the president raising the issue about doing an infrastructure conference. And of course, one time there was this fellow you talk about, Monrovia, that reached out to me that the president has spoken to him. He spoke with the president. They talked. and we decided to proceed with that. But I thought he had some missteps along the way. And I'm not going to talk about it on the public radio because it doesn't make sense to do that. And because of those missteps that he took, I felt he was not ready to be in line with what we thought we would do in terms of understanding the different protocol required for that. And I thought that we should proceed. And we proceeded. And it shows that the infrastructure conference could get organized and executed, whether with him being in line or not. But he's a good young man that I know about, but just that, there were a few missteps along the way that I will not talk about. So we proceeded, and the conference got executed.
Okay, 777-700-995. We have spoken for over 1 hour, 30 minutes. It's your time now to speak with the Public Works Minister, but I will read some messages first, so the cause will wait. Let me read some messages that have come in first of all. I don't usually. This one says, Mr. Nyan Demi, Dean of Sherlock Como Memorial College School, that's in Barclayville there. Sir, please ask your guest if he has anything in the pipeline for Barclayville Estate, where we live, and majority of us voted Mr. Weah, because the Barclayville Estate area, it has a whole lot of potholes. I can attest to that. I go to church there, lived there as well. So I know exactly what he's talking about. It's terrible. So just jot down the concerns. Chokon Flammer of DN News. First, there is growing concern regarding the demolition of residential homes in Roto Town for the construction of a road intended to connect along Springfield fence. While infrastructure development is this approach is troubling as it displaces families and disrupts established communities. Rather than resorting to demolition, may I suggest exploring smarter and more modern alternatives. Liberia has an opportunity to make history by constructing its first tunnel running from the old road beneath Springfield to Roto Town. If a tunnel is not immediately feasible, another practical solution would be to construct the road up to Springfield fence and install a control gate. During aircraft landings or takeoff, the gate could be closed, and once operations are complete, vehicular movement could resume. This system is commonly used in developed countries and will eliminate the need for extensive rerouting of roads and the destruction of homes in surrounding areas. I am concerned about the continued construction of ordinary bridges within our nation's capital, particularly along the RRA Road, the primary gateway to the heart of Monrovia. The bridge currently under construction appears to be designed solely for basic vehicular and pedestrian use, similar to bridges built during the J.J. Roberts era. In this modern age, should we not be thinking bigger? Is there a possibility of developing a landmark structure, whether a bridge or tower, that symbolizes Liberia's rich culture, resilience, and diversity? Examples such as the London Bridge, the Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge in Nigeria, the Manhattan Bridge in New York, or even an iconic tower comparable to Francis Eiffel Tower, demonstrate how infrastructure can serve both functional and symbolic purposes. Alternatively, a grand welcome to Liberia gate similar to those in Grand Bassa and Nimba counties could stand proudly as a national symbol and a bold statement of progress. Mr. Minister, infrastructure is not only about functionality, it is also about vision, identity, and legacy. Liberia deserves development that solves problems while inspiring national pride. Respectfully, Chokon Flan, CEO, DN News. Please inform the minister that there's a shortcut from Kawa Samuka Town, Royal Community to Barclayville. Just less than 20 feet is needed. Please inform him. Okay, he's jotting that down. Good afternoon. I did not hear the minister talking about the avenues in Cinco. Some few days ago, I saw some public works workers mapping Cheeseman Avenue to the Jalatan curve. According to those who built in the alleys, they were asked to leave May 3, 2026 because the demolition will start May 6, 2026. Let me go in here. The messages are many. Let's capture them quickly, folks. Okay. George Lobo says, please ask the minister, all our sidewalks have been taken away from us. What is the Ministry of Public Works plan to open up the city roads? Chicken Soup Factory Road is dragging. Which contractors are on it? Is he pleased with the work and performance of Liberian owned contractors doing roads? They seem slow. Jonathan Pelele sends in that concern. Atimus gave a suggestion, comment question to Minister Giddings. Let me commend you and your team for assertively taking on the responsibility of getting us a better road network. What are your thoughts on both Public Works and Transport Ministry rethinking mobility for our people? For example, the Waterside, Gabriel Tucker, Stockton Creek bridges are so low that it defeats the purpose of getting water taxis, boats, for serious transportation network on our rivers and the road transportation with the old Bon Mines road line that can literally be domestic and regional line extending to both Sierra Leone and Guinea. Is the minister open for elaborate diaspora partnership? If so, how soon can this be done? That's Dr. Artemus Gay. Please ask for Samukatan road connectivity with Johnsonville, and that in that same Samukatan there is a road linking to Keba. That one is from Sekou Mamadi Soare, Attorney Henry Lombe. Please ask our guests if there are any plans for the Shara Community Road, Dupo Road. Oh, it's terrible, especially the opening of the drainages. Our community chair lady tried to help, but she was the one who died in the fire incident along with her family. The concern that many. Former Representative Larry Yonkwe, please ask the minister if there's a plan for a roundabout at red light. Okay. Tale Toya, please ask the minister of all the words what is doing about the condition of the city. It's clear that the city's infrastructure is aging and the city is steadily losing its beauty. There's a need for visible action to restore, maintain, and modernize our urban spaces for the benefit of citizens. Please ask him about the Kalando building near the ministerial complex. Okay. This person says, please ask the guys when will the Freeport and Simpoa roads be completed. Christopher M. Bala. Okay. Please inform the minister there's an alley or shortcut from Omega to Pipeline Road, but people have built on it and nothing is being done about it. Now we can take calls. 777-700-995, 555-995-995. I'm taking calls up to 550. Yeah. The last 10 minutes you will use to answer. Welcome, let's hear you.
David Koti, my name.
Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to thank the government for the development initiative, comprehensive development initiative. I mean, things are working in every sector in the country, especially when it comes to roads. Mr. Minister, you are right. The president was right. During the 70s, I was here in Lofa, and I remember there used to be the public works yard. This zone is something, and it worked very well. There was one Mr. Jensen, who was in Lofa that taking care of that side. And I want to thank you too for not paying attention to this thing called political revisionism. That is credit stealing. You are working, you want a complete job, not to start and say we have the blueprint. If you ask the CDC right now, they're going to tell you, look, the construction of the executive mansion started in 1961 and was completed in 1964. But if you ask the CDC now, they will tell you they have the blueprint for that mansion. So this thing about credit stealing, don't pay attention, continue doing your work. My only question to you is, what are you thinking about the Ducal Palace building, the E.J. Roy, and the Hobson Bank on Ashmore Street? Is there any plan to revamp these places to use for government offices? Thank you.
Okay, thanks so kindly as well. Welcome, let's hear you quickly.
Minister, I would like to say thank you for your work so far. I'm kind of concerned. I hear you talking about demolition all of the time. I noticed that there's an alley that runs beyond Royal Hotel and comes towards 12th Street. It also passes near Boulevard on the 13th Street. There are structures there. A huge structure is being, in fact, modern structure has been built there. That is isn't that in the alley? I'm asking. I don't want to assume, but I know that the road ends at a certain point. It did not continue. Secondly, there's a justice complex that there's a groundbreaking that was done recently. I noticed that they are doing fencing, but my understanding is that during some past administration, that entire area coming down to Busekoto were paid for. Are you not considering those? Are you just a small size there that you want to fence, or are you thinking on expanding or acquiring the full land space that's supposed to be that the Joseph complex is supposed to occupy?
Okay, thanks so kindly. Welcome. Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you, Julius. My name is Ikaba, and good evening to your guest. Well, if I heard him well, I think he confirmed that resources were secured to build the road going to Grand Crew and other parts of the Southeast. If that is the case, I'm glad he was able to confirm that. But I believe strongly, Julius, that the same sweet talks and lies that brought the Unity Party-led government to power still continued. Considering how lousy the Unity Party is, they keep talking about building more roads until they even lied to the president. I really want to know whether those roads are spiritual roads. Take, for instance, I live across, particularly the community. I drive to town every time. From Freeport to the New Bridge, lot of potholes that continues to cause traffic for people driving on that route. Up to now, over 2 years, I would like for him to show me a particular road that has been built just in Monserrado.
Okay.
For example, when President Weah came to power, in 2 years, we could point at roads that were built. The Clareton roads, the Jamaica road that going to Logantown, the Rehab road, the Logantown back road. For 2 years, they said that they're playing politics. They want the election time to reach so that they can start building these roads, and they still continue to boast about these roads.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Thanks. No, that's okay. Thanks so kindly. Let's take this is from Benedict Koluba, former assistant minister. Which administration took the loan from the Arabs that affected the Lofa Road? Let the minister clearly state the major roads that they met with contract, especially from Nimba to the southeast. How can we be paying a company to pave the road and give them duty free? Judas, the minister told us that the cost of maintenance with the government equipment were more expensive than giving to contractors. Will these maintenance costs of these yellow machines not be more expensive? Okay, that's from Benedict Cordoba. Let's take, how did this one go off? Let's come to the public line. Welcome, let's hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Julia.
Yes, quickly.
Yeah, I'm Junior, and I'm calling you for Red Beyond OKS.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for hosting the minister. I'm glad I able to go through the law.
I want
to ask the minister, are they being justice to everybody? The road leading to Southeastern, passing through Nara Street to get to 12th Street and passing through the Metro compound going to the same road to town. Why are they trying to open an identical corridor that enters the Barclayville compound to go straight to La Route to town?
Okay.
Because the then demolish, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, the then demolish, all area refuse from my Ellington all the way to the previous government. They refuse to open our identical law.
Okay,
right.
Thanks so kindly. He has heard you. Let's go international. Welcome, let's hear you.
Good afternoon, Julia. Frank Gibson, I call from Paris.
Go ahead, Frank.
Julius, when President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president, did she divert the traffic from the old road because I believe her restaurant right on her house was right on the road there? Because the minister just said there is a road that passes directly in from former President Sirleaf's house. It was closed. I think it is still closed. There was a road where that passed right in front of Charles Taylor house. The car used to pass there.
No, that main road. That one that alley, chief. That main road.
The minister lied, Julius. The minister lied. Thank you, please. That's not what I call for, Julius. The minister said, in demolition places, they give people a notice. Now, development is good, but the government should be responsible enough to do it responsibly, not doing the irresponsible.
How?
It's very bad. This government is very irresponsible of demolishing people places.
How?
Julius, my caretaker on the Johnsonville road there, he went down. They went again and made a paper on Saturday last week, and they're telling you to demolish his place on Thursday, the 12th of February, they are going to break the place.
Okay, thanks so kindly. We'll hold you there. We'll hold former Representative Gray here. Let's take Engineer Delino Bryant. Delino, welcome.
Good afternoon, Julius. Good afternoon, Honorable Minister.
45 seconds.
Perfect. I will do that very fast. The minister talked about something that is very salient, Julius. He talked about the issue of economic corridor. And just to buttress that point, when we talk about economic corridor, that also solved the question of the bread and butter issue. Economic corridor developed multi-criteria analysis, wherein that we determine the corridor based on economic returns. And when roads are constructed in those areas, Julius, what really happened, we have social migration. For every social migration, there are construction of businesses within that corridor, that also create jobs for people. But what I would also suggest to the minister that it could also look at as well, many of the contractors are working within the corridors. They can at some point hire people within a corridor that won't between 1 to 2 kilometers. You can hire some locals. They can also empower them. The last thing, if I can leave the Nigerians, you also talk about the bypass leading from the SKD Boulevard to Concord Town. And you talk about Chiefs. That's a brilliant idea. Honorable Minister, I will also suggest let us make sure that the base course are strongly enough that can accommodate the heavy flow of traffic, because within the next dry season, after this rain season, we might have to experience some critical cracks or critical sections, so we can construct the base course very well.
Thanks.
Overload.
Thanks. So kind of we'll hold Engineer Don Zoga on that end. Let's say former Representative Gray, Engineer Don Zoga will be the last person. Their concerns are, I think the minister gotta agree with do one more show why your jail call to asking question. Yeah, because the way I see it ain't easy.
Thank you very much, Julius.
Yeah.
That is a briefing to the minister in studio. I have a concern because I grew up in Raspberry Valley. When I grew up in Raspberry Valley, there was no alley. No government came and said people building on alley, beyond Chief Gibson specifically. You have confirmed, because your people have come in, they've done the marking, they've given the people deadline of May. They hired some people April to leave. So that means you're breaking from Slipway, from the airport straight to Raspberry Valley to come to Charlestown. And you're breaking from Charlestown, there's another area all the way to 9th Street. My concern here is that not many of those people live to that area over 60, 80 years, some of them 70 years or 40, 50 years. But at no point in time they have been a demonstration of an alley. That's one. The second thing, what's the urgency, Mr. Minister, when you have confirmed that there's no money for pavement, but you people will do some cover and all of those things, and you'll be breaking down the area in the rainy season in Bay. My next concern is, have you taken a stroll from where you sit on the right side of Single from 3rd Street to 14th Street? Have you seen the area of the affluence on the right-hand side where we have the Judas, I want you to take the camera there.
Okay, thanks so kindly, sir. Because of time, it's not easy. Don, I'll just give you 30 seconds. The minister has to respond, and he has only 5 minutes to do that. Yeah.
Yes, please. And I will be very straight and direct. This is Architect Don Zoga. And Minister, just 2 things. First, I want to commend you for all the great job you and your team you're doing. First, please give us updates on the zoning law that is being worked on. What's the status of it? And second, will you agree when other engineers argue that the Ministry of Public Works focuses only on roads and it should be called mainly on roads and it should be called Ministry of Roads, and where it neglects to some extent spatial development?
Okay.
I want you to comment on those.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Sorry, folks. Whew, everywhere is ringing. Mr. Minister, you have 5 minutes. So you just breeze over them. Some are 2, 3 the same, so you just breeze over them, put them together.
Thank you, Julius. Okay, there was a question about Barclayville Estate. We have not forgotten about Barclayville Estate. Let me say that. Barclayville Estate is to our heart. We are looking to see what's possible this budget year. If we do not, I can promise you that next year, what you see happening in Matadi Estate, you see that happening in Barclayville Estate. I can promise you that. Rototown demolition, we spoke about that already. We are doing that. We are not passing the road through the airport. We are passing the road around the airstrip. So we are now having a conversation with the airport authority to see how we can do that. But there's a space between the park and the airstrip to do that. We're not building a tunnel. We don't have the money to build a tunnel right now. We're not going to do that. Somebody spoke about Samuka Town to Barclayville connection. I will talk to my bridge specialist or the structural people to look at that. If there's a connection that can get us from Samuka Town to Barclayville Estate, that's something we look to do. We're talking about Monrovia interconnectivity. That's something that we're looking to do. Chickasaw Factory Road, we check on the status. There have been some issue. The contractor has resumed work on that road. They started doing the drainage work already, as far as I know. But we'll check on that. Somebody spoke about Gabriel Tucker Bridge, the way it's built, so that for navigation. We had a proposal that was submitted to JACA to see if there can be a conversation about that. They have not agreed to it yet, but to see if we can get a new bridge and lift the current one. That means we elevate the current one and do another bridge, new bridge. So that would be 2. If they agree to that proposal, we submitted, I think it's about 30 million to JACA to see what is possible. There's no commitment yet, but we are hoping that we can pursue that. So we're concerned about that. Somebody asked also about the bridge on the RI Road. The bridge on the RI Road, the jog bridge, we consider navigation. It's going to be higher than the current bridge on that road because we want navigation to be a part of the whole process. So water transport is key to what we are doing. So it's being considered in the construction of that bridge. It will be higher to consider small boats that can pass under it. We also conversation about whether there will be a roundabout at a rail line. It's something that we are looking to do. Not even a roundabout, I would think a flyover, but it's something that we should consider. Maybe when we're done with the 2 flyovers and see what they look like, we will look at places that we like to be able to make some intervention. But now, because we're doing all these other relief in terms of congesting the traffic, we'll see whether that's something that we want to invest in. Whether Freeport to St. Paul Bridge, the intent is the president gave us clear mandate to us. We're working with the contractor to be able to pave up to St. Paul Bridge. Even if it's just a single layer, we'll do that up to St. Paul Bridge before the rains. I hope we can get there. That is what the target is. If you go on the road now, you see the contractor is already working closer to Bowman Bridge. So we're getting closer there. And I'm sure that's something that we can do. There's a conversation on public buildings, of course. It's a part of what we discuss. These buildings have to be looked at. I know with the Libyan holding company, the Ducal Party Hotel was something that was being considered until the crisis took place in Libya and Gaddafi, died, and then everything collapsed. So there's conversation about what we do with these public buildings, and that's what we're trying to start with the Hotel Africa, to look for investment to remodel some of the buildings. Like you saw what we did with the Central Bank of Liberia. Today is the Central Bank. You got the Egypt Royal, you got the Housing Bank. These can be transformed into other ministry agencies.
You have that huge building near the GSC.
To be able to attract the kind of investment we're looking for. The Justice Complex, we're working with the Ministry of Justice for the design. On the issue of additional space, I know there were conversations about PMM made a long time ago by some leadership. I think it was the Togo government or so. We have not concluded that with Justice Ministry as to how far they want to go in terms of the land space, but they're beginning to fence what they have now. And if there's conversation to go further, that's something that we can talk about. Labor hire along the corridor, yes, all the projects that we are doing, we hire laborers, and that is why when people were arguing about the job numbers that was announced by the president,
you really want to go in that job
really
number
thought
thing?
that nothing was done, but we also gave numbers. Yes, we want to, because Pablo gave numbers about the jobs that we created along this corridor. And
next time we can go.
So I don't know about the sum, but I know the numbers that we contributed to that. So it's not a fake number altogether like people would think, but there were contribution to that because we created jobs in several sectors, and I know that, especially some of the corridors that we are working in. Also, there was a question about the zoning law. The update on the zoning law is with the president. The Senate has already signed off on that. We're waiting for the president final approval. There's update on the Zoga asked about whether they want to make it just rural ministry or do a spatial development. Of course, spatial development is very important. It was a big part of the conference that we had. We have to rezone, and if the new zoning law talk about rezoning of Monrovia, that is why the president has announced the issue of the Prime Grove Cemetery is something that we're considering now to relocate that. We have people remove their bodies from there, give them time to do so, and that place will be turned into something else. It's a complete dump site now. It's so pitiful that we have the dead in that place, and it has turned into a dump site. There's a question, of course, Honorable Gray spoke about the slave conversation. Yes, we're going there to see what's possible. Like I said, if it's private people land, if it's a land that is not within the right of way that we said, we pay for it. But we want to create access to make accessibility easy around the capital. That's something we'll do. But if we're taking people private land, the government will have to pay for it. We are not going to do that all by ourselves. One more last thing before I leave. We didn't talk about it. I know the Minister of Finance said something about reversing harmonization. I don't think he meant that. He meant reversing the effect of harmonization. I'm also doing that at Popular Works. I'm reversing the effect of harmonization. Harmonization was a good policy, but it was not done the way it should have been done. If you want to harmonize pay, you don't do what you did. There were engineers at Popular Works making $350, $250, some making $500, $900 with the same degree. It was not what harmonization was about. Harmonization was to bring everybody at the same part. When I left Popular Works, an engineer with bachelor's degree was making $450. Engineer with master's degree was making $1,200 when I left. Once you have master's degree, that's what you made your gross pay. When we left, they came and they dismantled our entire system, and we inherited it the same way. I'm fixing that now. We're taking all engineers coming up to par now, at least with $550 with a minimum a bachelor degree, and those with a master's degree minimum $1,000. That's what we're doing now. So we're reversing the effect of the bad spur of the harmonization policy. The harmonization
policy itself was not bad,
but
some of the things that happened,
the effects of it was negative, and that's what we're trying to reverse. And I'm sure exactly what the Minister of Finance was talking about.
Probably Works Minister Giddings, thanks so kindly. Maybe we can do another one in the near future.
Please.
Where we will only talk for 30 minutes and the rest you interact with people.
Please.
Okay.
I'll be so good, Julius. Thank you for having me.
Okay, that's how we go. My name is Julius J. Tomorrow is another day. We'll have the NAFA boss here tomorrow. So we're trying to get to all these government people. That's a good thing. We're out.